Hey guys, Emily Sanchez here, the divorce coach, and today I'm going to talk about my 5 philosophies for helping children through divorce. And actually, it's my 5 philosophies to parenting in general. So even if you haven't gone through a divorce, I really think this could help you. So I'm going to just dive right in. The first one is routine. Okay? We know how vital, science has proven how vital routine is to our child's self-esteem, to their self-security, so they can feel that they are safe, all of those things to lessen worry. And especially at a time when there might be loss or separation, our kids, they need that routine. They need to feel secure in whatever home they're at. And so, we know from the time they're babies that the routine is paramount in establishing sleep, in establishing their growth and their overall mental security. So it's so necessary. And at a time when there's this loss or separation, a lot of times the kids worry. They have a little bit more anxiety than at other times. And when we have a routine, it really helps the anxiety-filled child. One of the examples of that is to lessen their decision making. For someone with an anxiety, a child with anxiety, decisions are a big deal. And they don't want to have to dwell on those decisions. It gives them that anxiety. It sparks it on. And so when they know that this time is when you wake up, this time is breakfast. It's the simple routine I'm talking about. This is when we go to school. This is when we have homework. This is when our dinner time is. This is when reading time is. This is what, things like that. Then they have less decisions to make. And it really can help with lessening their worry. Another thing that is good about routine is it develops natural accountability. So if you put things into your routine, such as we don't eat dessert unless our vegetables are eaten, or no friends unless your room is clean, or until homework is done, or no screen time until homework is done, things like that, then they have and learn that accountability towards things. Another thing I was thinking is that there will be less questions, less outbursts. And for the single parent, trust me, you need less of that whining and those outbursts. When they already know that their bedtime is this time, when they already know that they don't get dessert unless vegetables are eaten, or whatever, they will have less whining. Yeah, hopefully, right? Another thing is if you're just newly going through divorce, have a calendar. Explain to them the routine. Explain when they're going to dad's or when they're going to mom's. Explain when you're picking them up. Even if they're 2 years old, tell them this day we're doing this. When they get used to what days are, in 3 sleeps, I'll see you again. Whatever the case. And make it exciting. Don't make it grudging, Help them to learn that it's exciting to go this way and spend that quality time, that one-on-one time with dad, or whatever the case. So it's all in how you present it. Also, if you can have a good enough relationship to talk about the routine that you're setting in your house and that you've seen things work as far as times when they go to bed, when they wake up, and to talk that over with your ex at the other house, how much more well-adjusted your kids will be. We don't all get that luxury. Don't worry too much about that. You can only worry about what you can do. So that was number 1, routine. Number 2 is pursue. If you sense a problem in your child, if they're acting a little out of sorts, you get to the bottom of it. You exhaust all resources. You do everything in your power to solve it because they are what matters most, especially when you're going through a divorce. We're most worried about our kids. We're most fearful of what, they could turn into or become, or we're just worried about them. So don't ever give up. Pursue them. There was a situation of a father, and they were newly divorced, and there was a teenage daughter that didn't want to go to his house on weekends or whatever the situation was, so he allowed her to make that decision. Then a little bit down the road, he wondered why they didn't have any relationship at all. Well, we can't allow our children to dictate the custody arrangements, okay? One thing maybe he could do is find an interest of hers. Get her used to the idea. Say, if she's into art, I bought this easel, this drawing. Let's go do it at my house. Be extra present with them. Be extra aware. Just be there. Now, if your child is exhibiting more major type of problems like withdrawing, their grades are dropping, you really see them acting out, then please get professional help for yourself, for them, whatever, and be relentless in that. I know people whose children, their teenage son, he is refusing the help. In that case, because I'm not sure the extent of his feelings, you have to tread a little carefully. However, I would do everything in my power to try to get an interventionist there, sit by him. I was thinking anything to do, to try to get them to accept that professional help. If I had a child who was withdrawing in their room, guess what I would do? I would take their door off to their room. I'd get a comfy chair and I'd sit there until they talked to me. And I'd be in there as long as humanly possible. So that's what I'm saying by pursue. Don't let it go. Address it and get down to the bottom of it. They're worth it, and don't ever give up on them. So number 2, pursue, pursue, pursue. Now, number 3 is be interested in your child's interests. Guess what happens when we start talking to our children about what they're interested in? They open up. They automatically become this open book. They're alive. They like to share. And then maybe they'll open up about other things. I have a funny story about a client of mine whose daughter was really getting into Japanese anime. And at first this concerned my client. She did not want her daughter to get into Japanese anime. She thought it was weird. She didn't want to have an interest in it. She said she'd rather pull her teeth out than sit and watch an episode of Japanese anime. But she decided that's what she needed to do. So she changed her attitude. She started asking questions. The daughter was like, what are you, just shocked that her mom would be interested in anime. And one time, her daughter came home from school and her mom had watched a few episodes, and she said, so that was crazy what happened to Victor on the ice skating rink. And her daughter was like, oh my gosh, my mom actually watched an episode. Then they started watching. Then, instead of watching, her mom found a YouTube how-to video about sketching and drawing Japanese anime. And so they do that now together. And the conversations are open. The conversations have opened to even more about school, about boys, about everything. So what I'm saying is when you have an interest in your child's interests, more things will open up. I promise you that. So that was number 3, be interested in your child's interests. Now, number 4, be their biggest cheerleader and their greatest fan. Extracurricular activities are vital for children's development, for their self-esteem, for their mental health, for learning to get along in a group, as a team, working together. There's so many skills and so many good, powerful things they learn by being them. So get them in some type of wholesome recreational activity and do it soon. Now, I have a client whose son is injured. His collarbone is broken. So be creative. What are some of his interests? Cooking, art, music, drama. Get him some lessons. Get him things, because going to school and getting homework just isn't enough. They need something. And I'm not talking about getting them into Fortnite tournaments. That's what they're going to want to do. Okay? I'm talking about the real deal recreational or music, whatever type things after school. And then once they are in those things, be their biggest fan. Be there as much as you can. I know you're working, you're a single mom or dad, but get there as much as you can. And if you can communicate with their other parent when their games are, when their music recitals are, whatever, even better. Kudos to you. So that was number 4, be their biggest cheerleader and greatest fan. Number 5, wait to date. I still remember when I was a teenager listening to the Dr. Laura show on the radio. And she said, if you get a divorce and you have minor children, do not date until they're 18. And I thought, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. That's almost a death sentence. That's a little harsh. But I understand the reasoning behind it. There was a letter to Dr. Laura from a lady named Laura. Okay, but I wanted to read it to you so that you can see the reasoning behind it. She said, here is the best advice I ever received when divorcing 12 years ago, when my 2 boys were 1 and 3 years old. Don't date. They already are down one parent. The revolving door of significant others just exasperates their sense of loss in relationships, which will affect how they choose their potential mates in the future. Then I looked at my soon-to-be ex-stepdaughter, age 10, and realized that she had had 6+ adults in her life between her parents' love lives. I don't date. My boys are not at risk for abuse of any kind, and they have no drama. Way to go for her. Now, my philosophy is a little bit different. It's in between. So I understand that, and I really respect it. However, I think that we have needs, we have wants, we have values. We want to share a life with someone. We want to see a successful relationship. And I think there's a lot to learn in giving and showing love in a relationship, and for your kids to see a healthy relationship. So I just caution parents to wait. There is a time period when your children, and probably you, are not ready to jump right out there in the dating scene, or for the children's case, to see their mom or dad bring home their dates. It messes them up. They're not ready. They're not adjusted. So be cognizant of your child's adjustment period and your own. And I would also caution, do not bring anyone over until you are completely serious in a relationship. So what does that mean? Save your dating life for when you're not around your kids, and that's perfectly fine. Go out on dates when they're asleep. Get babysitters. That's okay to have a life, and they'll understand it, that mom needs her alone time. Dad needs to get out. Okay, we need to have a social life, and they need to see that too. But they also don't need to see Bill, Tom, and Ted every weekend and wonder who's going to come around. Okay, you get what I'm saying. So wait to date was number 5. So I really believe in these philosophies. I'm going to repeat them one more time. Number 1 was routine. Number 2 was pursue, pursue, pursue. Number 3 was be interested in your child's interests. Number 4 is be their biggest cheerleader and their greatest fan. And number 5 is wait to date. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you tune in to my next video. It's going to be with Dr. Richard Burton, who is a psychiatrist. He's one of my friends. He's amazing. And I wanted to have this episode about my basic parenting philosophies before he comes in and answers more questions about the effects of divorce on children. And so I'm going to give him specific scenarios and see what he says. So I'm really interested, and I hope you tune into that too. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that little square down there. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.